Jamahal Hill has remained completely silent on social media since his TKO loss to Jiri Prochazka last month. His last post was a video of him and Jiri sharing a drink at the bar after the fight. However, Hill recently broke his silence, uploading a video to his YouTube channel to reflect on the loss. While he feels the stoppage may have been slightly premature, he gave credit to Jiri for making key adjustments and delivering a strong performance. Hill made it clear that he has no excuses, admitting that he simply came up short.
Obviously, the fight didn't go the way that I wanted it to. Got to give a shout out to Jiri. He made great adjustments. He looked really good. Brought in some new elements to his game. Wasn't able to get the win. Ultimately, just had fun out there. I really had a good time. Enjoyed the fight. It was a war. Went back and forth. Former champions. Hopefully, we delivered. I appreciate all the love and support that's been outpoured and thoughts on the fight. Good opponent. Haven't really been able to be in the fights as much as I want to over the last couple years since I won the title due to injury and things like that. I felt like comfortability was a little off, didn't really get into my rhythm, didn't really get into my flow. Still showed up, I'm still game. I'm still one of those guys like that whenever it comes to fighting, but would have liked to have been a little bit more locked in. I wish that it hadn't been stopped. That's one thing I will say. It was a good shot. I went down and he was swinging the finish, but I felt like I had covered up, pinpointed the position where he was punching, and pushed back into him, kind of knocked him off his balance. Was doing kind of the same things I did earlier in the fight to get up, and I don't know, the ref just felt like it was time to stop it. It was time for him to step in. Didn't really care for it. Kind of like the Izzy fight. The week or two after my fight, he can see where it was stopped, and also I can see where it was stopped, but I felt like the former champ was working his way. He got caught, he got hit with a good shot, and you let him deal with some adversity or go out on the shield. I would have liked to go out on my shield. If he's gonna put me out, that it is what it is at that point. I know what I signed up for. As I said, dealing with things and stuff like that going into the fight, absolutely no excuse. I felt like I was in a position to come out and get my hand raised. I banked it all on myself, went out there, and ultimately I just came up short.
Adesanya shares his thoughts on a hypothetical matchup between prime Alex Pereira and prime Anderson Silva. Having faced both fighters in the octagon, Izzy believes Pereira's devastating leg kicks would pose a serious challenge for Silva. However, he ultimately gives the edge to Anderson.
Who would have won in their prime at 185? Alex Pereira or Anderson Silva in his prime?
Ooh, at 185, the leg kicks from Pereira are a problem. That's the thing. It's a different game, man. Silva as well, he mixed it up well, but again, that's a good question. The way Silva, his distance was on, Pereira's pressure, Silva would have handled it with good footwork. Silva can turn it on as well, but his leg kicks is a problem. That's one thing I can't get past. And I don't know if Silva's southpaw as well, though. Nope, Silva switched well, and he fought very well southpaw. Hold up, clinch? Nah, Silva had a chin too. Had a chin in his prime. Pereira in his prime at 185. I want to lean Silva, but Pereira catches him against the fence. Silva was good on the fence. It was good on the fence, man. Silva just knew how to get matrix. But again, Pereira, it's the leg kick. That's the thing. I don't know. That's a good question. Let me ponder on that. Let me actually think about that. I fought both of them, so I know. So again, I'm leaning prime Anderson, but again, I'm gonna lean prime Anderson.
Daniel Cormier has shared why he believes Ilia Topuria made a mistake by vacating his featherweight title. Despite moving up to lightweight, DC thinks Topuria should have kept his belt and allowed Alexander Volkanovski and Diego Lopez to fight for an interim title. DC feels Topuria is taking a significant risk because if he loses in his lightweight debut, he'll be without any title. In contrast, had he kept the belt, Topuria would have much less to lose, essentially fighting with the house's money.
The UFC would not have forced him to vacate. He made that decision on his own, but it is kind of par for the course when you think about Ilia Topuria. He really does carry himself like a politician, right? Well-dressed, well-spoken, very respectful of mixed martial arts. He seems to do all the right things, and in this instance, most would believe that he's doing the right thing because he's not going to hold up the entire division. But for me, I got to be honest, I would have been a little selfish in this situation because what if he loses? What if he does earn a title fight? And what if he loses? Now he's not even the featherweight champion anymore. Should have held on to the belt, waited. Lopez and Volkanovski would have gladly fought for an interim championship. You go out there with nothing to lose. You're playing with house's money. We saw so many guys do that before, and I don't know that they had the same type of leverage that Ilia Topuria has right now, because he seems to be one of those guys that is on the verge of becoming a champion. So what's next for Topuria? I believe it's Charles Oliveira. You match up Topuria and Oliveira. They fight relatively soon. Islam is in Ramadan. They don't want to fight in Ramadan. He doesn't want to train in Ramadan. Obviously, you guys know Ramadan, from the moment the sun comes up to when the sun sets, these guys can't eat, can't drink, they can't take in anything. So training is almost impossible. So that pushes Makhachev back to the end of Ramadan. Ilia versus Oliveira early, sometime in the spring. You make them fight with the guarantee that one of these guys gets a title fight. Because right now it's Charles. Charles is next. But when you introduce Topuria into the equation, things get a little bit convoluted and a little bit unsure. It's not as defined as it might have been before, because Ilia's looked so good in his time at featherweight.
Belal Muhammad has shared his thoughts on the differences between facing Jack Della Maddalena and Shavkat Rakhmonov. Belal will defend his welterweight title against JDM at UFC 315, although Shavkat was initially offered the fight. However, Shavkat is currently injured and stating he will fight the winner of this bout. Belal doesn't believe JDM presents a less challenging matchup, but notes that he had to adjust his strategy for this fight.
Rakhmonov or JDM?
I mean, if I'm looking at it stylistically, I beat both of them easily. And I think that I don't look at it as a tougher fight, right? I look at it as what I'm going to do to them, where they're good at. It's just adjusting the strategy. With Shavkat, you know, he's a fancier striker. He wants to probably bang more. I think JDM is more crispier. But like I said, I think that Shavkat had that pressure fight in his last one with Ian Gary, and he felt it a little bit, right? It wasn't the same Shavkat you saw, because there's different levels to it now. Now you're the co-main event. Now it's 5 rounds. Now you have to adjust it. I think now that's where JDM's gonna feel that in this pressure fight. It's your first main event, your first 5-round fight. But this is the wrong guy to have a pressure fight against. I'm not gonna let you take my foot off your neck with that pressure.
Michael Venom Page made an appearance on the Overdogs podcast with Mike Perry, and the two discussed their fight in BKFC back in 2022. Perry defeated MVP via majority decision. MVP believes he actually won the fight, however he's happy with the way it played out. Since their fight, Perry has gone on to secure finishes against notable opponents such as Luke Rockhold, Eddie Alvarez, and Thiago Alves. MVP took the opportunity to commend Perry for his achievements in BKFC.
I gotta ask this. Did you beat Mike Perry in bare knuckle?
Ooh. Hell yes.
Because that it was so,
Hell
close.
Yes.
That was a good fight.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie, yeah. For me, I enjoyed that fight so much, and I'm glad it kind of went the way it went. And I don't feel. I always say this: how things happen is the way it's supposed to happen. He went on to do some amazing things in the BKFC and just created such a great name. I love your character. I love your personality. Like I said to you, even in the build-up, like before even meeting you in the build-up, I was like, this is the kind of guy that I know I'd go out with, because I could just tell your energy, like it's on point, man. Like you are such an entertainer, but also you come for war every single time. And nobody has ever seen me in that state before, ever. Like even in this last fight, everyone's talking about how good this guy's striking is. Not one strike hit me in the 15 rounds in my face.
Well,
I got not one punch.
I didn't have to face legs.
Yeah, nah, Steve, regardless.
And I remember the ref getting on you when you would take my back.
Yeah.
I was covering up, and I wanted to be like, no, it's fine. Like I want to figure him out.
Yeah.
And fight him, but then I was like, I'm not. He's not allowed to do it. Okay.
Man, I don't care. Regardless of the result, I'm glad you won it. I loved the fight, and it was just a pleasure sharing. It was a pleasure sharing the ring with you, bro.
It was an honor to share the ring with you. I'm such a fan. I've been a fan of yours.
Paddy Pimblett recently reflected on his back-and-forth exchange with Dustin Poirier. Poirier had declined a potential fight with Pimblett, stating that he wants his final bout to be against another legend. Nate Diaz then responded to Dustin, saying, "Fight Paddy, he better than you." Paddy then responded to Nate, saying Nate Diaz knows his He's a real G. Dustin Poirier fight Benoit Saint Denis when he's ranked 12, but not me. You know what would happen. Dustin responded to both of them saying you guys will try to attach your name to anything for clout and clicks. But guess what? It's legends only. On a recent video Paddy uploaded to his YouTube channel, he says he actually does understand where Dustin is coming from. However, he tells Dustin to stop being a bitch and to fight out the remainder of his contract.
Nate putting up by Paddy, a beater, legendary that, you know, everyone loves Nate Diaz. I don't feel disrespected. I understand what he's saying, legends only. I'm not a legend, and you could earn more money on a pay-per-view fighting someone else, but why would he retire after one fight, lad? Stop being a you know what I mean? Fight your contract out, have a few fights. Just had a good fight with Islam, you know what I mean? And then Chandler put his feet up, which is funny. I think he was taking the piss out of Dustin, saying, scared to fight Patty. But come on, Chandler, you know how to spell my name, lad. It's not Patty. I'm not a burger. It's Paddy, lad. Double D.
Dustin Poirier gave his prediction for Paddy Pimblett versus Michael Chandler. The two are set to fight at UFC 314 on April 12th. Dustin appears confident that Chandler is going to win. Dustin said even though he's a bitch, Chandler all day, go heavy on the money. Alex Pereira has addressed Daniel Cormier's concerns regarding his upcoming fight against Magomed Ankalaev. Alex recently cornered Sean Strickland for his fight against Dricus du Plessis in Australia, and DC believes Alex should be focusing on his own training instead. Last week, DC said this dude Pereira was seen in Australia last week still, and was shaking the hand of Drake as Drake went on stage for his concert. He needs to go home, get locked in, because he does have the hardest fight of his title reign to this point. Alex responded to DC by posting this to his Instagram story. He wrote, "Don't worry DC, we're over here working," with a winking face emoji.
Senão aí, ó, na hora que tiver empurrando, você sai de uma vez. Pum!
Wait for the lady chef, wait for the lady chef.
Vai de pé, leva o pé. Boa pé, filho. Leva. Isso, boa entrada. Boa entrada.
Breathe, Tuffy, breathe. Everything you do, remember. Yeah, that's better.
Bora de meta, o cara tá parecendo bonito, cara. Deixa a bola do cara, não vão.
You break and enter, you break and enter.
Pega agora.
Tuffy, you break and you enter, yeah.
Bora, cuida.
And that's going to wrap it up for the news. Thanks for watching. For daily MMA news and content, subscribe to Full Mount MMA and click the bell icon to be notified when we post videos. Here are the 3 top comments from last video. The first one's from Mark. It says if Paddy braids his hair again, Chandler might adopt him. The second one's from Angry Metallic. It says the same people who are calling Islam scared of Ilia will be the same people who backtrack their claims and will say Islam only beats small guys. Mark my words on that. And the final one's from T Swizz. It's in reference to the UFC booking Corey Sandhagen versus Davison Figueiredo and not Sean O'Malley. It says this with Sandhagen and O'Malley is getting old. That's the fight to make. UFC trying to protect a boy. Those were the 3 top comments from last video. If you want to be featured in the next one, all you have to do is comment down below. And if you missed yesterday's news, click the video on screen right now to get caught up.